Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leader in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Thursday, April 24th, 2008. Well, as we get into today's video, I want to touch on a few calls that we've made in the last couple videos. Precisely two calls yesterday that we talked about that came to fruition today, the day after we talked about it happening. And those would be gold and oil. And we're going to start into that. And then I also want to touch in on how the market looks like it's probably starting that last little move up that we've been expecting, which is another call by InTheMoneyStocks.com that looks to be extremely accurate and precise. So let's go right into the market on the intraday. And as we get into it, I just want to touch base with everyone and encourage you guys that are interested to come join the E-Minis and stock chat room. And just to go over it, it's basically a forum where a bunch of traders gather, and my partner and I talk in the room and go over market setups, market calls. We talk about market conditions, psychology, technical analysis. We answer questions that are typed in by the traders, and we trade alongside everyone. And it's just a great forum for everyone to learn, trade, and hopefully make money. All right, so I do encourage you, those of you that want to check it out, come in and join it. It's only $199.95 a month. Now, you can see on this intraday chart right here that you have some basic natures of this market, and I want to show you number one. First off, early in the day, the market was setting up for a drop, all right? And the futures were down about 8 points pre-market. Right around 8 o'clock, we started to advance, and you can see the buy program that came in here very early on a little increase in volume. And then right away, you get to about 9:30, and this is when the market opens, you have a sell. All right, right back into this moving average jumble right here. You see the 20 moving average and the 50, and right below the 200. Well, you bottom out here, and all of a sudden you get a major buy program. And this is, interestingly enough, we called this to a T in the chat room. Those of you guys that were in there know. We talked about two main signals pointing to a rally in the market. And this is when the market's down here. All right, when the market's down here, my partner and I were looking, and we saw the transports. Transports were inching up. And the transports are a great indicator for the market that we follow. Number one, I mean, it's one of many, many, many. I can't even tell you how many. But it was an interesting indicator that was pointing to something going on. So while the market's selling off here, you see the transports inching higher. In addition, you had the XLF and the financials very, very strong, and that's also another key for the market. And we saw a few other proprietary techniques out there that we had calculated that was pointing to a rally. You guys know we've been calling for a little bit of a push up in this market, one last push up before the next fall. And just like we predicted and just like we said in the chat room, the market was off to the races. You had a little pullback, then a beautiful push up, and a little bit of an M pattern. M pattern right there, sells off into the close. All right, nice little sell, by the way, into the close. So it's an interesting candle. You see a nice little volume uptick into the close on the selling as the selling ensued. But we will continue to follow that. But nonetheless, overall, the market did very, very well today. You had the Dow up 86 points, the NASDAQ up 24, and the S&P was up about 9 points. Now, it was led again by technology and financials. Now, the key to technology and financials is this, folks. Over the last, 3 months, ever since January, really, we've had leaders in the market that are thus. Oil stocks and oil, gold stocks, agricultural stocks like potash, and you also had some other solar leaders as well. Now let's take a look at pot. Came out with earnings, and you guys know we went over earnings yesterday, right? Earnings, they blew out earnings expectations, but we always talk about how when a stock is up going into earnings so substantially, it's already factored in blowing out those results. Sure enough, POT comes out, it falls. In addition, in yesterday, another call we made in yesterday, we showed you the UUP, which is the dollar index, and we'll go to the daily intraday chart. Here's where it closed. Here's where it closed today. So we talked about how the dollar was going to strengthen. We called the dollar as a good long in the near term anyways, and gold and oil would fall. And what does gold and oil do when the dollar strengthens? Just like we talked about yesterday, let's look at the USO on the daily. There it is, down on the daily nicely, and on the intraday, you can see here's where it closed yesterday, here's where it closed today. You can see the beautiful trend down over the course of the day. And again, we do expect this to continue, although it's going to be bumpy along the road. Nothing ever goes straight down, nothing ever goes straight up, but we do expect that the dollar will continue to strengthen here over the near term, and oil and gold will continue to fall. And look at the GLD very quickly. Here's on the intraday where it closed yesterday. Here's where it closed today. Gold was down substantially. In fact, my partner who does the daily market reports had mentioned, and he mentioned in the chat room that gold was going to go to $880 per ounce. And sure enough, where did it find itself today? 880 on the button. Another miraculous call from his techniques, his proprietary analysis, and our analysis that we use and come up with these numbers. No BSing these numbers, folks. Institutions out there, personal people out there that want to do consulting, you got to get on board with this because these are amazingly accurate. All right, so now let's go into, we talked a little bit about the intraday on the market, but I really want to focus on the daily because it looks as if, let's take a look at the SPY here on the daily. It looks as if we may be starting. We've done a little consolidation here, and you could see some more, but it does look like we may be starting that next push up. And again, this looks to be the last push into that late April, early May area where we've seen, we believe that it's coming to an end before the next push down. Okay, and again, notice the shift now. This is all psychological talk right now that I'm going to go into. You have, as the market does this last move, you have more and more bulls coming on board. What does that mean? It means the likelihood of a fall increases. The more bulls on board, the more likelihood of a fall. Now, it doesn't guarantee it. It doesn't make it 100%, but it raises the percentage of that happening. And that's all that matters. All right, and again, let's take a look at the NASDAQ here. And the NASDAQ chart is the same type of deal. You can see the nice little move the last 2 days. NASDAQ's up almost 50 points. And what looks like we're making that last move on the NASDAQ. Now, I talked about sector rotation, and I talked about agricultural stocks and gold and oil stocks and some solar stocks. And these are all plays on the weak dollar. All right, these are all plays that go up when commodities, for instance, the agricultural plays, commodity prices rise like corn and wheat and rice. Well, that's because the dollar is falling, so those commodities are rising, meaning the stocks like potash become more valuable, what they sell, obviously, and those stocks are running. Now, those stocks are pulling back with the dollar. As the dollar strengthens, that means that sector rotation may take place, and you're going to see, we believe, and you started to see it today, which is why we noted the rally, why we called the rally prior to it happening. As the money flows out of those, it's looking like it wants to go into technology and financials. So keep an eye on that. Doesn't mean that we're all out of the woods on our financials, by no means. And I want to stress that. By no means are we out of the woods on the financials. There's going to be another small shoe to drop at least to take us down a notch on those. Definitely not out of the woods yet. So keep that in mind, but money is beginning to flow. Now, a sector rotation doesn't happen overnight, and keep that in mind as well. You don't snap your fingers and $5 trillion goes from one sector to another. It means that fund managers, it appears, and obviously this is an appearance, that fund managers and likewise thinkers like myself are now beginning to position themselves slowly, moving slow amounts of money into another sector, meaning if it comes down lower, you buy more, come down, and so forth. And that appears like what was going on today out there in the markets. So in any case, another thing we mentioned the last couple days in the videos that turned out to be spot on, China. China looked like it was bottoming. It was down 40% year-to-date on the Shanghai index or so. I believe it was 40% 52-week low. In any case, it had been crushed lately down unbelievable amounts, and we had talked about how it had started to look like a bottom was forming. It was up 10% last night. In tune with that, Chinese stocks continued to run today. JRJC up, and look at this nice little move. And you're talking about a $14 stock going to 18 there. CHU, nice little move up starting. CHL is a better one. China Mobile. Look at this run in China Mobile, by the way. The FXI is a good indicator for this as well. And here's the FXI. And by the way, the FXI is hitting resistance right here at the 200 daily moving average. So keep in mind, it could go a little higher, obviously, as if China continues to be hot, but it almost looks like it needs a pullback here based off of that chart and the pattern. It looks a little extended at this point, but doesn't mean it can't go a little higher, obviously. All right, so in any case, another good call by InTheMoneyStocks.com as they continue to roll out. And I do encourage everyone to join that chat room, join the swing trade alerts, join the options alerts, and also come join the private consulting institutional clients. Definitely get on board ASAP before time fills up because it's getting busier and busier, that's for sure. And as I mentioned, the videos will probably be coming to an end in a month or so. And we'll keep you posted on that, see if we can work out something. But nonetheless, institutional clients, get on board right now. All right, folks, other than that, there's not a whole lot else to say. Looking at the NASDAQ on the daily chart, again, this next possible move, and again, we've done a majority of the move already, so you've already done this much of the move. It's just a matter of, are you going to tick a little higher to make sure you get enough bulls on board before they drop it. Is it possible we go to the 200? Yeah, it's possible, but still, look at how small of a move that is left, even if we see the 200. From here to here was the majority of the move. Now you have a little more major resistance at this, in fact. You would definitely get a pullback off of that, I would have to say, unless some weird thing happened. First hit of the 200 is almost always a pullback candidate. High percentage play on a short should we hit the 200 right there. All right. SPY, same thing flies for the SPY. We've already gone from here to here on our calls. And could we go there? Yeah, it's possible. But again, it looks like a turn date coming in late April to early May. We'll have to see as we get closer. We'll know a better date precisely, and we'll try and give that out to you guys ASAP as well. After the bell, Microsoft came out with earnings. Microsoft is trading down about $1.50 right now. Look at the chart, folks. You guys know we talk about being baked in the cake. Look at Microsoft's daily. A move from here to here, and then they report earnings. No, you know it's not going up after that. It's never a guarantee, as I always say, but the probability is raised for a drop on that. Way too overbought into earnings, factoring in phenomenal earnings. It can't compete with that phenomenal earnings expectation at this stage, and it sells off. Have a wonderful day, guys. Baidu also reported. It is trading up after hours. We'll talk to you tomorrow.